I want to talk about really a couple things. I'm a little short on time, so I'll split it into two different things probably. But if you look back at 2025, sorry, what's the by far the number one thing that determines somebody's success, you think? If you look back, okay, somebody sold X amount, what was the reason they sold X amount? What do you think it was? Consistency, what else?
Discipline.
Consistency, discipline.
Hours, work.
Yeah, what else? Dedication.
Execution.
All right, what else? Belief, we're close now. So belief. All these are tied together. Would you agree that all those are correct? What's the one thing that drives all those? The one thing that drives, the number one thing that drives your success number is your identity. Period. So the reason somebody sells 30 or 40 homes, I can't write that, identity, right? Why do you think the reason they sell 30, 40 homes? That's who they identify as. I'm somebody who sells 30 homes. I believe that if somebody can do it, Baron can do it, I can do it. If Jeremy can do it, I can do it. They just believe that, right? And so what happens is their identity, it could be from childhood, could be from previous work, could be 30 years in police force, whatever it is, in many cases, tends to drive these other things you guys gave me here, which is how far I push, how much I study, how far I learn. Because what happens is, check, if I do think that somebody does get that success, it's just timing or just luck. But in reality, the only thing that drives your number of success, the number of homes you sell in 2026 is going to be what? Your identity. Me doing this for 20 years and having a team since 2007. We opened the company in 2008. I had a couple people work for me as a team. I look back, the only thing that's different is everybody comes and sells a lot, and the ones that don't sell a lot, what do you think? Belief. And the belief is driven specifically from their identity of what they feel that they're worth as a human and what they feel that they can accomplish as a human. In many cases, it all comes from our childhood where successful people with money are just lucky, they're evil, whatever it is, right? Or they had somebody who was successful around them who basically wasn't a great role model. It can be different things, or most of the time, just they grew up in a household where they didn't think it was what? Possible. And so the key part is understanding of like, how do I shift my results for 2026? The only way you can do that is to do what? Build a new identity. How do we do that? Mindset. What else?
You got to figure out what's been holding you back and course correct.
Yep, in a way, right?
Personal development.
And so there's a couple quotes from one Dr. Carol Dweck had. Success comes down to a growth mindset, and part of that is envisioning who you want to become. So that creates what? The gap between where I am and where I want to go. Makes sense? And so for me to understand, hey, look, I figure out, hey, where am I at right now in terms of who am I right now? Oops. Right, there's my arms. Who am I right now? And then obviously the person I want to come in 2026 is not the same person if I want to continue growing, right? It's bigger, better, stronger, and they're up on a higher peak. But that person is not the same person. They have a different what? Identity. For me to get there, I have to do what? Well, number one, I have to design, okay, what does that identity look like? And so for me to figure out, okay, what is a person who has the results I want? What do they do and how they operate? And so that's what I'm a reverse engineer. I did this one time before, I think October 2024, one of the powerful things I've done. And I still listen to it daily, but it's important to kind of look back, okay, what's the avatar look like? And so Dr. Joseph Dispenza, he's a big name, everybody's probably seen online. The act of mentally rehearsing your future self-charges your brain and body to look like the future you want to create. And studies from Stanford University say people who visualize and connect with their future selves are more likely to make decisions that align with long-term goals than ones who don't. And so that's the key part. And so the one thing I want you to kind of figure out is, okay, what does my future self, or ultimately my avatar, look like? And that's what I want to take a little bit to kind of go through today and just ask you a few questions that are going to help you get there and get clear on that, which I think is the missing link for most people. And so I want you guys to write this down, though. Your past is just data. Your past is just data. What does that mean? Yeah, it worked or didn't work, right? There's no right or wrong. Either it worked or didn't work. Your childhood, it worked or didn't work, right, for you. It's not good or bad. In many cases, you can use a bad childhood for good if you use it as motivation, right? And so you want to look at your future is unlimited if you design it. Your past is just data. Your future is unlimited if you design it. And what does that mean? Well, I got to take time, first of all, to do what? Design it. And for me to design it, I got to getting clear on what it looks like. And so part of that is the critical thinking that goes to that. And how do we do this? Well, the most important thing I talked about a while back, I spent like 2 meetings on it, is this thing called neuroplasticity. What does that mean? Anybody remember?
What you need to do with your brain to make it, to shift into what your future self will look like.
Yes. So the process called neuroplasticity allows you to overwrite the old limiting beliefs with a new operating system, one built from within for winning. And you overwrote the software in essence, and all of a sudden now it's not a big challenge.
Yeah, it is.
But looking back to previous, you thought it'd be what? Almost impossible.
Yeah, it's literally impossible.
So that's a perfect example of neuroplasticity. And so all of us have this we're carrying and this operating system that came from how we came up that drive your identity. How do we know? Because your numbers this year showed it. Some of you are newer than others, but the reality is how hard do I push in my belief? How hard do I push in my commitments? How hard do I push in my personal development? How hard do I push in my role play training? All that comes down to my identity. If I'm someone who identifies as 40, 50 houses a year, but I'm at 20, what am I going to do? Whatever it takes to fix myself, right? To be better at sales, to be better at sales psychology, to understand what to say, to role play, to practice. All that comes from identity and belief in terms of what it is. And so we have to rewire that from the beginning and do that. And so your past is typically a saboteur, meaning it sabotages, right? Your brain's default setting is survival, not success. I want you to write that down. Your brain's default setting is survival, not success. And so it's wired to keep you safe, not to help you thrive. That's why you constantly keep doubting your abilities, repeat the same mistakes, and you're playing small within in terms of your personal development when you're meant to dominate. And so if you don't actively overwrite this programming, it'll keep putting you back in your comfort zone, right? And nothing extraordinary was ever built by just living in my comfort zone. Makes sense? And so if I want a life that's extraordinary, I can't be what? Ordinary. I have to do things that are not ordinary, meaning work harder, get here earlier, stay later, practice things, study, go through the courses, whatever it is makes a big difference. And so the key part when you take is your previous programming is sabotaging you because it forces you to doubt your abilities for a typical survival because you're scared of failure, right? And so identity is everything because it dictates your actions. If you don't shift your identity, you always fall back to who you were, which is your what? Your default identity, which is just the world shaping you instead of you shaping your world. Does that make sense? And so part of what we want to do here and help you grow into is help you shape your own identity for 2026 that allows you to get where you want to be and who you deserve to be ultimately. My job as leader is to extract that from you and help you guys extract that in self. And so what I want you guys to build is to build your what you call your 7-figure avatar, right? 6 or 7-figure avatar. It can be 7 figures in sales in terms of like multiple, 10 million, 20 million. And sales also could be your net figure, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 income, whatever it is. But I want you guys to build that avatar, what it looks like. So here's the deal. Step 1. I want you guys to name your avatar. What does that mean? This version, I want you to give your new version of yourself a name. That name holds power. Own it. So for me, it's 1K Blake, which is a Blake version. It's a leader of a team that sells what? 1,000 houses, right? That person doesn't operate the same as they did before. And so there's been a whole transformation this year just in working towards that and knocking out a lot of those things out in that process, right? And so that's the key thing. So there's Chris, what'd you have? What was yours?
100K.
100K Chris, right? 200K Chris, whatever you want to have. I want you guys to figure out for my 2026 avatar by December 31st, 2026, what do I want that to be in terms of my success or my life, and I'm going to go back to it where you can name that. But you want to have your name in there. I think my coach has like 10 mil bill or something for his with that, but it's very powerful. Number 2, you want to define every detail. Why is that important? I need to know who I'm hunting down. There's a version of me, right, that can hunt that down, that can sell 60 homes, 70 homes, 80 homes, whatever you want to do. You got to figure out what that version of you looks like and how they operate, which is very important to understand. And so the answer, I'll go through some questions in a minute, right? How do they spend their mornings? What values drive their decisions? What does their health, mindset, energy look like? For example, I can't be really successful for a long time if I don't do this. Carter's telling me why. Because fuel, the food I put into my body, is what allows me to get energy to sustain for a long period of time. That's why people get sick all the time, right? Kaylee's dad just got the flu for like the 3rd time in 2 months. Why do you think it is? He's not eating. He eats like ramen noodles for breakfast. He eats like a McDonald's for lunch. I'm like, well, no, you got the flu for the 3rd time, right? Because what? But in his world, he thinks it's what? The flu. But if you look at people around him who doesn't have the flu, the ones that are healthy, you're not eating bad, right? So it's important to understand, look, you understand that. What values drive your decision? What does your health, mindset, energy look like? How do they handle adversity? Who's in their inner circle? 3rd step of this. This is what I was talking about earlier. I got ahead of myself. Identify the gap. Identify the gap. What does that mean, you think? You got to figure out, where am I screwing this up a little bit? Is it drinking too much alcohol? Right? For me, that was one of the things I put down on mine. Where the 1K Blake doesn't need alcohol for anything, for stress, whatever it has. And it's allowed me to cut down significantly just by going through that process and figuring it out. Why? Because anytime I want to have it on like a Tuesday or a Monday night, like last night, I went out to a birthday thing. Guess what I had? Diet Coke. Why is that? Because 1K Blake doesn't fucking drink on Mondays. Period. Right? And so that's just something that really help understand to get clear on that. It helps you make better decisions and drive your values from where you're at. Okay? Like that's very, very important to do with that standpoint. Compare where you are now to where your avatar is. It's important. Write that down for number 3. Right? So you need to write down what to kill and what to build. What part of me do I need to kill? You know, looking back at 2025, what part do you need to kill? Is it the lazy part, the inconsistent part, one that doesn't show up, one doesn't practice, the one doesn't role play, one doesn't read books, whatever it is, there's a part of you that you know is holding you back within from an execution standpoint, inside your business. It's not external, it's all internal. Number 4, once we get that outline, we're going to turn that into affirmations. Why is that?
Reward yourself.
Kind of, close. It's not some woo-woo, but I'm literally rewiring my mind, right, through neuroplasticity. And so if I say affirmations daily, like I do with my 1K Blake, what does that do? It slowly reprograms my subconscious into a new version of me and how I make decisions, drives my values, which drive how I operate. Makes sense? And it takes time. I've been doing this every morning in the gym for, a year. And slowly, one by one, they get knocked out, but it takes a long time to do in that process. Right? Things like I make bold, decisive moves every single day. I attract high achievers. I thrive in uncertainty and always find solutions. Those are things that drive a different value than someone who becomes to a victim mentality, right? That's a big difference here. Number 5. I visualize and rehearse daily. Visualize and rehearse daily. What does that mean, you think? I want you to spend 10 minutes daily to see it, feel it, live it. That version of you. For me, it comes on the way back from the gym every morning. Play it audio. See it, feel it, live it. That's key important there. And that just comes through repetition. But here's the thing, you got to think, I'm overriding 30 years of stuff like Michael's talking about. I can't do that in 2 months. I can knock out 2 or 3 things, but I can't knock out the entire 60 plus traits I'm looking to get to just in a matter of 2 months. But if I look back at the long process of 12 months of this year, I can make a massive difference who I am and how I show up as a human. In my power, in my certainty, not just in business, as a husband, father, boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, dad, whatever it is, it makes a big difference in that part. Number 6, I anchor the identity. Anchor the identity. What does that mean?
Commit to it.
Yeah, I start operating like it now. So I'm starting to face it now. Hey, I'm going to start showing them avatars now. Hey, I'm a closer on the phone, Cal. I close everybody on the phone. I close everybody face-to-face I'm at, right? I pull the best comps to make sure I understand exactly how I get them to the price I need to. Those are things that make a big difference in terms of anchoring my identity. But I start that now in January 1, so I start living into that process so that I know this is where I got to get to. But most people just winging that, right? Going to a couple appointments, can't figure out, hey, look, why is my conversion rate 30%? Right, there's a massive gap. You look at the numbers, right, Joe? Some are at 30, some are at 70. There's a big gap. The gap here is that person's identity, how they show up and what they do. And so my job is to figure out, okay, what am I doing to keep me at 30% when someone else is at 70%? That's the gap, right? And so for me to figure that out, I got to start looking within and reverse engineering where I'm at here versus where I need to go over here. Make sense? Which I think is very, very powerful. Number 7, stay ruthless with your environment. What does that mean? Yes.
Don't be distracted.
So looking at my avatar, right, my identity, if it doesn't align, I drop it. People in my life bring me down. They want to not do the things I want to get to, right? The old things, the old patterns I had, guess what? If they don't serve me for where I'm going, what do I got to do?
Get rid of them.
Get rid of them, man. And people that bring you back and hold you down typically is what I'm meaning, right? Are they holding you back from your growth in terms of you growing to be the best version of you? Are they pushing too? If they're not pushing too, then obviously there's something that the limits there. It could be family members, friends, whatever it is, makes a big difference. If it doesn't align, you drop it, right? Number 8, I track progress relentlessly. Track progress relentlessly. What does that mean?
Know your progress. Know where you're going.
Yeah, once you have a list of like who your avatar is, and you can kind of go back and say, hey, look, here's who I am, what I do, then you're able to go back and say, here's the ones I've knocked out. I think I'm about like 20% of mine, which is pretty cool to look back, right, and see. In terms of some of it I forget, I got to remind myself of like, okay, this dude would be harder here. This is something how, I make harder decisions here, bring more energy here, bring more, collision with people here in that part. And so the final charge is your future self is waiting for you, right? They're not committing to save you. You have to show up for them. And so what that means is when the avatar is clear, your excuses can disappear, your habits align, and success can become inevitable. The key is I got to get to work on it, right? And what it is. So I'll give you guys a couple things to kind of break down and think through from strategic thinking a little bit. I'll give you the first few, and we'll go, right? So number one, your vision identity. Looking at the end of 2026, of who you are, that person, that can be 200K, Chris, or whatever it is you want to have there, 250K, 350K, whatever it is, the vision identity. What is the ultimate goal or dream your avatar has achieved? And it could be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever you want to do. But ideally, people tend to, underestimate what they can do in 2 years of growth. So what is the ultimate goal or dream your avatar has achieved? For me, it's 1,000 houses. I'll give you the document to go with this. I just want to help you guys critically think together with this, okay? So just write down number one, and I'll give you the list to go along with it. Number two, what nickname, title, or identity best embodies your avatar? Number three, what does your avatar stand for that makes them different from others? So for me this year, my big push has been what? Remember, excellence, consistency, and personal development, right? That's kind of my thing. And obviously, I can't stand for excellence if I don't have excellence in my body and how I show up as a husband, as a father. That makes a big difference. But for me, really the biggest things have been what? Really three main things. That kind of the key one, right? Is personal development, massive personal ownership of what it is, and then personal contribution, make it, and all that kind of comes to excellence. But that's a big one, important. Number four, if someone were to describe your avatar in 3 words, what would those words be? Mine, power, excellence, consistency. Number 5, what does your avatar never compromise on, no matter the situation? Number 6, how do you want your avatar to be remembered after you're gone? First 6 are vision identity. Second part are the values. So it's safe to say, the future you, who's the bigger, better avatar, who has what you want, has different values than the one you have now. Do you agree? And values drive what? Decisions and action. And so, number 1, what are the top 3 values your avatar lives by every day? What are the top 3 values your avatar lives by every day? Things like personal responsibility, personal excellence, personal development, right? Those are things that drive a lot of that. What principles guide your avatar's decision making? That's number 8. What principles guide your avatar's decision making? Is it feelings? Or is it goals? The process? Like, what guides decision making that you have in terms of how you show up in 2026? Number 9, does your avatar demonstrate integrity when no one is watching? How does your avatar demonstrate integrity when no one is watching? Are all the dials I make real? Do I put people in the CRM or Boomtone or whatever whenever I get them? Like, a lot of details, right? How do they do stuff when no one's watching? What's their integrity look like? Number 10, how does your avatar balance ambition with gratitude? How does your avatar balance ambition with gratitude? How does your avatar balance ambition with gratitude? It's a hard one for me sometimes because I tend to just push all the time. And so I force myself to do gratitude twice a week. Number 11, what does your avatar prioritize above all else? And that could be freedom, impact, faith, family, finance, whatever you have in your life going on at the moment. And here's the deal. If you could be in a situation, young, single, that's just, you got to get your foundation right. All right? Could be a situation, I don't know. It depends on where you're at. All right? You're going to have to figure out something of what this year the avatar is focusing on regardless. Because here's the thing. I'm going to have to make some sacrifice in some areas to get what I need. How do we know? Because you can't get there without some type of sacrifice in some area. Make sense? Next part is what we call habits and daily routine. Habits and daily routine. Number 12, what time does your avatar wake up? And what's the first thing they do? What time does your avatar wake up? What's the first thing they do? This is a powerful one for me. When I started doing this, I just had 2 kids. And I stopped stacking a little bit because I wasn't getting hardly any sleep. I couldn't have time to do the gym and sleep. So I had to do what? The gym, sleep, and do my stack. So I had to change my wake up time to even earlier than what it was. And part of this process allowed me to do that, and that's been going strong for, I don't know, a year now? What's that?
But for me, somebody pointed out, it's like, when's the first time, like, the first thing you really consciously do should be praying, at least for me.
Yeah.
My faith. And I realized that I was grabbing my phone and doing all that other stuff before I even prayed. And when I made that transition, I became more grateful.
Yeah, right? Because this dude does different things than this dude right here.
Yes.
It's crazy, right? For me, my first thing I do is stack, right? First thing in the morning now. That's before I do anything. I could go to the gym at 5 and stack afterwards, but for me, it's important to get that part right and then go to the gym.
Yeah, well, I think praying is meditating on what you're grateful for, and obviously thanking God for everything that He's blessed you with, and just doing that sets my day up to be. I don't wake up on the wrong side of the bed anymore.
Right. Well, because you keep that cup filled, right? And that's the key part. Is like for me, same thing. I can get away with like 2 or 3 days or 4 days not doing it, but I notice after a while I tend to become a little short-tempered, a little bit less space in how I give those around me, and so it makes a big difference because I'm in tune with God and my prayers and my gratitude as well, right? Number 13. How does your avatar create focus and discipline throughout the day? How does your avatar create focus and discipline throughout the day? I think that process, I bought this thing called Brick, where like it'll brick your phone or whatever. I haven't used it as much lately, but it did help me. Like, how does your avatar create focus? There's an app that keeps them doing it. They take social media off. What is it? What's your biggest distraction? How do you eliminate that to stay focused?
I think Rick is a good training wheels.
Yeah.
Because you need to train your brain social media for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah, that's powerful. It helped me. Number 14. What does your avatar's fitness and nutrition look like? Is it measured? Is it consistent? Is it meal prepped? Is it meal specific? Is it macro? Like, what's your commitment for 2026 and this version of you that's had the best year of their entire life? Both inside business, outside business. You look back, you're ripped, you're empowered, you made the most money you've ever made the entire year, you have the most fulfillment. Like, what is that person, how do they operate? Guarantee they're not rolling in McDonald's every morning or every lunch. Why? Because that bleeds into other parts. Number 15, how does your avatar structure their evening to recharge and stay aligned? Part of me having the new time of getting up earlier, guess what I had to do? Make sure to go to bed a little earlier, and that's not negotiable. It's all by design. Most people live life by default, right? Not by design. And so my goal is to make sure I can design it, not live in default another year. Number 16, what are the 3 non-negotiable habits your avatar practices daily? I'll get a little bit further and we'll pause, and then I'll have you guys work on some of it. We'll come back next week. Next part is mindset and skill set. Number 17, how does your avatar think about challenges or failures? And obviously you're going to look here at the contrast between who you are in 2025 versus how this person views it. There's going to be a difference here in how they view it. So you want to contrast this against, okay, how I look at stuff in 2025, what was I fearful of? What was I triggered by? Like, because you look at that triggers this guy is way, way bigger than the triggers this guy. Or that triggers this girl is way bigger than triggers this girl. This girl flips out when the deal goes sideways. This one don't give a shit, she's got 10 more. Okay? Like, that's the difference. Number 18. What mental blocks has your avatar conquered and how? It's important. What mental blocks has your avatar conquered and how? And this could be things that like you're fearful of. And here's the thing. If you want to look at like, like the key, like what have you hesitated on? Is it collision with clients? Is it pushing harder? Is it pushing for more rejections? Like, what mental blocks do you know looking back that's limited your sales face-to-face with clients that your avatar has conquered? Objection handling, calling past clients, doing it virtuals versus in person, right? I was telling some guys at the gym this morning that a lot of my friends across the country and other teams, they're just doing all virtuals now, which is crazy. I don't know how well it's worked long term, for the buyer side at least. They're just going straight, even if local people, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. So, I don't know, it's just, it's just a thought. Obviously, I think it'd be safe to try, in person first and then virtual if you have to. But that's just something that a lot of them adjusted to. I thought it interesting. What skills has your avatar mastered that make them a leader in their field? This is important. Like, if you want to be a top 1% agent in our marketplace here, what skills has your avatar mastered that make them a leader to deserve it? A lot of people want that result. They don't want to do the work to deserve it, right? That was another thing I was going to talk about. I'll say for next week is, did you earn it or not? We're asking the universe for it. I want this result, but you got to ask yourself, did I really earn that result I'm desiring? That I'm speaking out to God, the universe that I want. In most cases, the answer is no. And we know that, so we got to ask ourselves, hey, did I really earn that? A couple more. We'll finish here at 25. I'll come back. That was number 19. Number 20. How does your avatar manage stress and maintain focus under pressure? How does your avatar manage stress and maintain focus under pressure? What do? Do they drink? Right? And so part of that is getting clear of, okay, what's sustainable, what's not sustainable, how do I make sure I get to a more better version of me? And that was just because, the capacity level of this guy couldn't handle the stress level that it was dealing with. right? So 21, what's the biggest risk your avatar took within and how to pay off? What's the biggest risk your avatar took from within, how to pay off? They invest in a coach, invest in some apps to help them, whatever it is, right? Like some of that times, a lot of times you can invest in yourself to grow internally. Okay, the next 4 to 25 will stop. The next part is impact and legacy. Impact and legacy. Number 22, who does your avatar inspire and lead by example? Who does your avatar inspire and lead by example? Is that coworkers, their children, friends? Like who in their life are they leading by example? Number 23, how has your avatar improved the lives of others? And that would be family, clients, team members, or the community. How has your avatar improved lives of others? Family, clients, team members, or community? Ryan, what's an example of that you think for you? Even looking back in the last few months, what have you noticed? What are you telling me in the mornings? You started going to the gym in the morning, started posting about it, what happened?
Started noticing, started talking about it, and I had a couple clients that had said, hey man, I noticed you were posting in the morning, I just want to let you know you inspired me to get up and start doing some stuff. And my wife actually started walking on the beach every day.
They start working out too. Think about that, right? Just making a change in who he is and just sharing it publicly out loud, right? And that can be sacrifice. Like, back to that sacrifice question, I was asking you, sorry, what was the question here? The biggest risk you took as an avatar? For some of y'all, it's just to start posting online. You've been too scared to post online, live out loud. Post online. Post what you're doing. Like going to the gym. Why? Because your client sees it, gets inspired of it. Who do you think they're going to go to next? Not the dude that's quiet, not saying anything. The one that's at the gym every morning at 6 a.m. Why? Because they think, hey, look, he's responsible. He's up at 6 a.m. He's got to work hard. Right? That's what clients think. And so that's a risk you may want to take in that case, which makes a big difference here. But that's important to look at. How has your avatar improved the lives of others, family, clients, team members, community, right? I made change with that. Started going in the mornings. Had a coach. Guess what Kaylee wanted to do? She's going to coach, right? So now she's got her own coach, own nutrition, and she's at the gym every morning at 5 a.m. before me. Did I ask her to do that? Did I tell her to do that? No. But she saw the results, saw me living by example, and all of a sudden she wanted to do it on her own, made a decision, and it's massively impressive to see that. And I'm not saying necessarily because of me, but I do feel like I had a part of that, right? And so that's a great example of living by example there. Number 24, what causes or initiatives does your avatar champion? What causes or initiatives does your avatar champion? For me, it's about like changing lives here. I'm not like trying to save the manatees or anything. I'm here to help you guys live a better life. I'm here to watch people like Leanne buy our first house. Those are things that really get me excited, right? To watch you guys buy new cars and new houses. I think that's what I get. And then obviously see that impact go into your life. That's what drives me. Right? And so it doesn't be anything massive. It doesn't be changing the friggin' manatees. You go, hey, look, I'm here to champion home ownership and to sell 50 friggin' houses this year to help get people in houses. Whatever it is, don't overthink it. Okay, that's something that's important. Number 25, how does your avatar measure success beyond financial wealth? That's a tough one, right? How does your avatar measure success beyond financial wealth? That's a tough one for many people because if you don't have money, right, that's the only thing that matters, like oxygen. If you do have money, then it's very easy to kind of look at some other stuff. It's easy to talk about when you have money. But some people use that as an excuse not to do the work too. For me, it's also about being an example for my son. People know who their father was and is, right? They respect that name. Like those are things you're looking at from a legacy standpoint too. Make a big difference. All right, there's 63 total. Obviously, I'm not going to throw all that right now. We're going to stop at 25. But I will give you this part here. But it's very. Can you already feel it? Me going back through it again is just so refreshing because this is part of this critical thinking. This is part that you have to pull this outside of you from the heart and the mind, which makes a big difference. It's very taxing to do, right? In many cases, you need somebody to kind of force you to do it. But I'm going to give you the list by next Tuesday, like you guys to have it, so we can kind of go through that part together. Does that make sense? And I'll go through the rest of them next Tuesday, along with that part of me telling you guys about we want to go through our goals next Tuesday, what they are. So everybody needs to have their goals for 2026 for Q1. If you don't have that, get with Ryan, get with myself. We'll help you with that. Everybody should be dialed in right now.